Hello everyone, you're watching Global Leaders Network, WinTV. I'm your host, Yesoe Yoon. There are many leaders in many sectors in this world, such as government, non-for-profit organization, business, art industry, education, sports, etc. Global Leaders Network invites these kind of leaders and share their wonderful stories. Today I invited former Senator, U.S. Senator Mark Kirk. How are you today?
Very good.
So, how things going with you after you retire from politics?
I left the Senate about 3 years ago, and with my wife started a new consulting business, which is going pretty well. Yeah.
I see. And also, we actually have the urgent issue in South Korea.
Right.
What do you think of the current situation in regards to ongoing Korea peace talks?
I think the president has been led on too much by Kim Jong-un, that he should trust the North Koreans less. The president traded a lot of authority for getting the summit in Vietnam with Kim Jong-un. Probably gave away too much. That I agree with previous National Security Advisor John Bolton, that you should not trust the North Koreans very well. They're very dedicated to get a nuclear weapon. In fact, the North Korean missile program is the same thing as the Iranian missile program, that we're having a crisis now with North Korea and Iran simultaneously. I see the two countries as basically the same thing.
I see.
Yeah.
And how do other politicians view on our President Moon and also our current administration?
The reality is that President Moon is not a well-known figure in Washington, D.C. He probably should seek to do more things with President Trump, so he's better known. Doesn't have a lot of popularity or knowledge. The average member of Congress doesn't really know who he is.
I see.
Yeah.
So then what do you think about Kim Jong-un?
I think he cannot be trusted, that he has played the president for a fool, and is dedicated to adding to the worrying thing that I see, that it's likely the North Koreans now have hydrogen weapons, meaning that the explosive power will not be measured in kilotons, but will be measured in megatons. And that is a profound danger to the people of Japan and the United States. Should they get a missile which could not reach the United States, we forget that the Sapphire, which is the first original Iranian satellite launching program, was able to get into orbit. And we know from a space program, if you can orbit around the Earth, you can deorbit anywhere into the Earth. That gives us something to worry about with nuclear weapons made in North Korea.
I see. And also tell us about you talk about the Iranian situation. So what do you think about the current situation in regards to U.S. and Iran? And do you think that removing the general of Iran, I have to look at this name,
Qasem Soleimani.
Soleimani, was the right thing to do?
It was the right thing to do.
Okay. But what do you think about all the protests that's going on right now in the Chicago area?
Probably misguided. We know about 500 servicemen and women from the United States military died due to assistance given by Qasem Soleimani to rebels in Iraq. That he has a lot of American blood on his hands, and should have been regarded as an enemy of the United States and a proper military target. The president did the right thing. The United States will be a lot safer now that Qasem Soleimani is at the great mosque in the sky. Yeah.
So some people actually argue that U.S. tried to make war against Iran. So what do you think about this?
One thing I would say, that we do not need another $1 trillion Middle Eastern war. But a lot of people can confuse Iraq and Iran, that Iraq is 25 million, Iran is 60 million. Iran is a much harder problem than the Iraq problem ever was. So for the war hawks, they should temper their desires of starting something with Iran. I think that there's little action that we can get going that's productive to the United States. And the problem is, with our country now $20 trillion in debt, a new, long, huge Middle Eastern war is probably too expensive for the United States.
What do you think about also the impeachment of our president, Trump?
I think it's largely a farce. That the Democrats in power now are misleading the country, and they are, because the Republicans under President Clinton did impeach him. This is a bit of a payback for them, and it largely takes us away from the important issues. The important issues are what to do about the threat from Iran, what to do about the threat from North Korea, making sure the infrastructure of the United States is updated to keep us up with the competition from China. That it's all a distraction from more important issues.
I see. And also, do you predict our president, this time is President Trump,
I think he will probably win re-election.
How much in regards to
If he
range?
run against Bernie Sanders, he'll win 50 states against Bernie Sanders, because the country does not want an old anti-Semitic communist running it.
I see. And I know that you have also adopted sister.
I do, Maya. My sister Maya was from the Holt Adoption Agency in Korea. And when she came into our home, we were living next to the Korean Consul General, and they came over and gave us a present of a Korean traditional dress for baby. And they taught us how to make kimchi and how to make bulgogi. Kimchi and bulgogi have been part of the special events of my family ever since Maya came. I do remember Maya, when she first came off the plane, she would be calling out for her oma, 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 which is the word in Korean for mother. So we eventually switched her. The right word is mother. And that has attached me very closely to the Korean people. I thought of myself as one of the only Korean American congressmen when I was a congressman, and the only Korean American senator, representing the roughly 20,000 Korean Americans that we have here in Chicagoland.
I see. How things are going with her?
With Maya, she's a banker, and she really likes her current job. She's now a business consultant, very kind of interesting. Has a new boyfriend who she's completely in love with.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I was always wondering how many times you actually visit South Korea.
South Korea, basically I've been there once. I've been to North Korea several times. Been to every province of North Korea.
Oh,
There's
wow.
21 of them. I was in Kaesong, Hariwon, Hamhung, Pyongyang during the famine as a congressional staffer. So I got to know North Korea. And since I have been to many sub-Saharan African countries, I can say that North Korea was by far the poorest country that I've ever been to, including all the African ones.
I see.
When I was in North Korea was out of flat glass. So truck drivers could be seen because they just had to grit their teeth and the bugs would hit them in the face. There was no glass in the trucks.
Right.
It was missing everywhere.
Right. Have you seen the North Korean leader at the time?
No, I did not see him.
Oh, yeah.
I was there as a guest of the World Food Program, the largest feeding assistance program ever done by the United States. We fed 21 million kids. It probably prevented on the order of about 7 or 8 million deaths.
Wow.
At the time that I was there, I did the first estimate that in the 1998 famine, we estimate roughly 2 million people died in North Korea.
Another question that I want to ask you was that North Korea actually heavily persecuted Christians.
Right.
So what do you think about the persecution of Christians in North Korea?
It reminds you of the old Romans who used to persecute the Christians in the Colosseum. It's a mistake because Christianity is the largest religion on earth. So that means that they are setting themselves against 1 billion Christians. Wrong move.
I see, I see.
Yeah.
And also, there are many people, actually, especially Korean Americans, they want to become politicians. So do you have any advice towards them?
To
future generations.
get involved in we have a lot of Koreans who are seeking office like yourself, and I hope that because the image of Korean Americans is very good. People here on the North Shore generally think of Korean Americans as running like cleaners or something like. So it's a good reputation that they have. That I would say that if you talk about Korean food like kimchi, people do know that. So it's a good reputation that they have. And I have often felt that Koreans are too shy and do not speak loudly enough because the Asian values are always to sit in the back and wait to see how the situation is evolving. No. The key thing about American politics is to remember the old English adage, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And I want the Korean community to have its own voice to make sure it can really come out. Because we need to really show our diversity and the strength that each country brings to this area. We're very proud of our Korean community here in Chicagoland.
I see. Have you heard the news about the President Trump nominate one of our Korean professor at the Northern Illinois University, law professor, as ambassador? Have you heard that?
He needs to. I hope that in Washington we have more and more Korean Americans step forward, because Americans have a good impression of Korean Americans, so they will give their faith and they will vote for them. That's a good thing. The thing that upsets me is sometimes ethnic communities will turn on each other. In Los Angeles, we did have the African American community turn against the Korean community, which was too bad. And for most regular Americans, I would say, they would feel very sad about that and feel that there's no reason to identify Koreans for violence.
Right.
And the thought about Koreans being very entrepreneurial, starting family businesses, which is the American way.
Yeah, Senator Kirk, I have heard that you started the reunion of a Korean American divided family, and would you please share the story about that time?
I met Chahi Stanfield, who had wanted to see her brother had been separated from him for about the last 50 years. And we want to make sure that, we are told there are about 2 million Korean Americans in the United States. And we had heard that several dozen South Koreans had got the help of their government to meet their relatives in North Korea. But Korean Americans had not had a single one. And so the Korean American community of here in Chicagoland got together with my help. We then met with Secretary of State Colin Powell when he was Secretary of State to make sure that there was a more important issue in the discussion between North Korea and the United States. I think when we talk with the North Koreans, we cannot forget that we have 2 million Korean Americans. My estimate is we have about 50,000 relatives that we would like them to be able to see their family members.
I see, I see. Yeah. Do you have any plan or vision in this area?
My hope is just to continue my work, and things look pretty bleak in the relationship between North Korea and the United States. And to strike at the right time when there's a good moment, when somehow we could go to the American government and the State Department to say, this is the right time to mobilize the Korean American community of 2 million strong to make sure they could get to see their relatives in North Korea.
I see, I see.
Yeah, so I'm waiting for a good opportunity to do that.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Were you always dreaming about becoming a politician when you were young?
I was involved in politics. I actually worked on a Democratic congressman's campaign, Abner Mikva, along with my parents, and that was so from 12 years old I worked on Mikva's campaign and Chuck Percy's campaign, who was our moderate Republican senator from Illinois.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So, got a job as a staffer with Congressman John Porter and succeeded him in the Congress. And when Barack Obama got the new job, we had a special election to elect a new senator for Illinois, and I won that election.
I see.
So the rest is history. So got all that done.
We thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank to everybody out there. Really want to say how proud we are of the Korean American community here in Illinois. It's a really amazingly successful community. And if you are listening, I would say, don't be so quiet. Become more noisy. Make sure the Korean American's voice is heard. I was so proud that when I conceded the election night, that most of the people behind me were Korean Americans. That really reflected my service that I gave to the seat, and I wanted to make sure that I was reflecting their needs and moving things forward of Chicago as an international and multi-ethnic capital.
What's your favorite Korean food?
Is good hot kimchi.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Have you tried bulgogi? A lot of people love
Oh
marinated
yeah. For me, it's bulgogi. New York strip steak cut very thinly with the marination.
Marinated, yeah.
Really perfect.
Yeah.
That was a special thing. When we had birthday or celebration in the Kirk family, we got bulgogi. So it's always been associated with in my family with a present or a holiday. Korean food, yeah.
Wow. Impressive.
I remember when I was in North Korea, the first thing I ordered was bulgogi. North Korean bulgogi is about 1 millimeter thick. It just goes along. It's like these long strips. It pretends to be meat, but it really isn't that much meat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I never tried, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's just it's the kind of bulgogi I like is good Nebraska corn-fed beef bulgogi. Yeah.
Do you have your vision? What do you want to do in the future?
For me, it's to be a good granddaddy. I've got my 4 grandkids living with us right now. So we have total chaos in the house. Like this morning, they all get up around 6 a.m. So that time to get up. Then the action starts.
Wow, you're busy.
Oh yeah, and tomorrow we're going to take them skiing. So I'm going to take videos online of our grandkids learning how to ski on the bunny hill, and I think we'll have probably several falling downs and go through all that spirit, teaching how to get up and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Wow, great! It sounds wonderful.
Yeah. That's the goal. And I'm since I had my stroke and still in a wheelchair, I will handle the après ski, hot mulled wine, and provide and be the raconteur around the bar and provide guidance to whoever wants guidance from me.
But how's condition? It seems to me that you walk.
My condition is good. I've had since my stroke 7 years ago. I did lose some of my speech abilities, and finally they did come back, which is the nicest thing. And being a political figure, you want to be able to speak. So these days I walk every day. The nicest thing is we got the kids a new cat, and this cat walks me every day. It's the only cat that I've known that will walk a human. I walk about 2 blocks down our condo development, and Bernie walks with me the whole time. I call it him walking his human. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And by the way, it seems to me that you're a great grandfather.
Yeah. That is my goal. Is right now to be. They call me Pampy. Is to be a granddad to those maniacs.
Do you have any comments to our audience today?
No, I would say to the audience here, if you are a Korean American living in Chicagoland, I would encourage you to get involved with Chahi Stanfield and always try to have a voice, because we have unfinished work to get more Korean Americans to be able to see their Korean relatives in North Korea. And the U.S. government has not done enough of putting that forward. I remember we all got together, we went with Colin Powell when he was Secretary of State, and he promised to bring this issue up so that we had the power and authority of the U.S. government standing behind their own citizens to see their own relatives in North Korea. And my great inspiration has been Chahi Stanfield, who's right over here. She has been waiting to get the government to help her, which it should do. I remember we started a group called Samsori. We were putting together a list of everybody who wanted this help from the State Department. I think, given the Trump-Kim Jong-un relationship, President Trump could get us a couple of hundred unifications. Right now, we do know that some South Korean relatives have met their North Korean relatives. And I think that Korean Americans should have the same privilege.
Who is your favorite president?
My favorite president is Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh.
Because he was active and he supported the Navy and he wanted to support the national park system, and he was very bullish on America, showed a good face of America.
Right. Wow.
Like that.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this.
You bet. Thank you. Good luck in the elections.
And
we're very proud of you. For standing up.
Yeah, thank you.
That takes real bravery to get in the fight.
Yes, we have to fight. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming to our station once again.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching Global Leaders Network WinTV. If you want to watch this again, you can watch this through our website and YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe us. And I want to see all of you next Thursday, 9 p.m. And until then, have a great week. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Yesoe.